Sego sewa gwego Kanenhariyo ki yung yats. Wak skarewage ni wagi darodo. The guy that ega ni the wagena. Skarege de goa I wagyoto. Well, I guess no de. There's been a lot of things going on lately, and lots of things being said about people and people's personal lives being spread throughout the media and sensationalizing and causing harm on families. And I've been quite upset as I've been seeing things going on, and I've been trying to think about how best to speak out about it, because I've been seeing this phenomena happen over and over again, and I wasn't really able to put my finger on what it was I was looking at. What was the common denominator? What was happening? And I think I had to talk to the young people and ask them what their thoughts are, and they described it to me and showed it to me what's happening and what's a common model for what they call building clout or building your social media presence. And this is something that I'm not really that familiar with, but lots of people do it, like Logan Paul. And I think he's got another brother and another fella, Conor McGregor. There's a whole variety of them. And what they do is they shit talk other people. And they're constantly talking, saying horrendous things and telling mistruths and stretching the truth and taking a little bit of what might be real and then spreading it to be something else to put other people down. And this is a common practice and a common model in Western culture to raise their status. And then soon, if you shit talk enough about enough people who are higher status than you, then soon you're doing multi-million-dollar boxing matches with people and getting paid hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars for talking bullshit about people on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube. And I think that what we're seeing is this sort of model for recognition has started to happen against Indigenous people who are fighting and resisting colonization. And as we're in a position where we're beginning to win, where we're winning the tide, where the settler populations are starting to recognize that there's issues, where residential school and Indian day school and murdered or missing women and land back and these kind of issues are coming to the forefront, and there's becoming people who are being leaders and who are being heroes in our communities and in our nations, and they're raising these issues forward, and they're speaking out about it, and they're standing up against tyranny and standing up against militarized police, and they're standing up against these things. They're becoming celebrities because people know who they are, and they're not doing those things so that people will to gain clout. They're doing them because they believe in it, because that's who they are. Many of the people across the country, people like Molly, I guess Slato, Kanenhariyo, Isaac Murdoch, Christy Belcourt, Skyler Williams. I know all these people. They're personal friends of mine. And I've sat with all of them. And these are incredible people. And they're human beings. Maybe they make choices. Maybe they deal with, they're dealing with incredible pressure. But there's these lowlifes who have been seeing them as having clout, as having political and social power, because people know who they are. And so we've been seeing these people trying to sensationalize on stories about them and shit talk them and spread lies and gossip and rumors and leave innuendos so that they can raise their social clout. And I hear people spouting off things about Kanenhariyo, about my people's, our constitution, our ancestors passed to us about how we take care of each other and how we make decisions. And using what they believe is, or suggesting or saying that this is our laws. People who have no business to even speak about that. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. I heard a fellow yesterday talk about I think he said the 10 Commandments of the Warriors or some crazy thing like that. The 10 something, I don't know. And then spoke about my brother, Skyler Williams, and say that he had no right to stand in front of that flag, the Skyler flag, the Warriors flag. You got no business speaking on that topic at all. And you have the audacity to tell a women in my nation to shut their mouth. Well, you come from a world where you run to the police for your protection and your safety. That's not how we do business. You said you were once a white supremacist. You're reformed now. Well, I don't know about that, because you're pretty mouthy, and you're trying to tell my people, the women of my nation and other Ungwahua nations, what their place is, what their role is, what their voice is. You don't know a fucking thing. And I want to say something to all the women that stood up and stood up and spoke out about what was being spread and gossip and misleading bullshit and lies that are being said about my friend, Skyler, and myself and others. I want to thank you for still following our ways. All the people, they don't know we still believe in our culture in Kanenhariyo. And the responsibility of the Skyler. People use all these crazy terms, land defender, water protector, blah, blah, blah. That's not in our culture. My culture, we call them people the Skyler. Rodi Skyler. And their responsibility is to protect the women and protect the children and protect the people and defend our territory. And in our culture, they stand up and they come and attack our women and kids, and the men will do whatever is necessary to keep them safe. And they'll bring whatever violence is needed to get that done. And we've seen that time and time again in Canada whenever they come bothering us. But this doesn't get talked about very often. But our women's responsibility is to protect our men and to stand up for them when they're being under attack. And I want to praise these women who did that on my nation and all Ungwahua women. They stood up and said, hey, wait a minute, you don't have he didn't do nothing wrong here. Or not to what you're doing to him or to others. And I'm very thankful that I come from a nation of people who know that about each other. And they still stand up for one another and still unify and stand together. And even sometimes when we don't like what each other got to say, or we're not 100% in agreement with one another, that we still know our laws are to protect one another and stand up for one another. And I want to be very thankful and acknowledge it, that I seen that happen, and it's going to continue. And my brother made a statement, and he talked about the kind of pressure and the things that he's had to experience in his family. And he doesn't wish to have his public life, his personal life, spread in the public. I don't know that that'll be avoidable. because everything is escalating. The pressure is escalating, and our nations have enemies because we have people who are amongst us and the people that are oppressing us, and some of them are aligned, and they're actively working at stopping our resistance and our movement forward, our land back, and to protect our territories from encroachment in it. And so this is probably not going to end. We're probably going to see more of this because this is what tyranny does. It tries to rip down and discredit and destroy the character of people who are standing as heroes. And I understand the kind of pressure that people experience facing off with the police and facing off with military and all those sort of things. I think any of us can imagine how emotionally and mentally compressing that could be. And I don't want to see our young people afraid to stand up because they're seeing what's happening to the people who are standing up. And so I encourage all of you, don't get on the bandwagon and listen to these people who are trying to shit talk everybody to raise their clout, who are fraudsters and fakes, or who are connected to our oppressors, like people who run for elected band council and then claim that they believe in our ways. That's a complete contradiction. Either you're joining the side of our enemy and are actively working to sell us out and to lose our sovereignty and our control of our lands, or you're not. You're not both. You're not reformed band council sellout, like you're not reformed white supremacists. And this is happening all over the country. I got people who are, I read an article, somebody pointed out to me an article written, some band council support, Indian Act supporter people getting paid, saying the Wet'suwet'en that are defending the land are a renegade group. They're a little fringe. That's the hereditary leadership. That's the authority. That's the ones that have a right and a voice on the fringe are the ones who joined Canada, who are snuggled up in the fort looking for handouts. Same thing where I'm from. This elected band council chief, he's called Donnie Miracle. He's selling us out. He's trying to take the people's resources and money and set it up so that the elected band council system, the Indian Act, will continue to oppress us for generations and generations to come. And people like, I hate to even say his name, are supporters of that system because they participate in it. And they're actively work at tearing down and discrediting the people who are fighting against the tyranny of the Indian Act and of Canada and of oppression. And they pretend that they wear Indian letterhead. They pretend that they're Ungwahumwe, but they're loyal to our enemies. So I'm giving this message because I'm up distraught about what's happening. I watched that article. There was an article came out in a newspaper, a company called Two Road Times, and they wrote a very disparaging article about Skyler Williams and suggested that he was involved in some sort of sexual assault. There's another organization that has aligned itself with the Indian Act and has for several years now actively worked to write and to discredit and to undermine hereditary governance structures of the Ungwahumwe people and the Haudenosaunee people to rise. This is not an organization or a business we should even watch, read. We should give them nothing. We shouldn't buy an ad. We shouldn't support them at all. And we should be aware of who they are, as they're fraudsters. And if you want to write an article about me, John, I'll gladly write one back. I'm mad about all the things that are going on, and I don't like to allow my emotions to get into the way of business, because in our laws, you're not supposed to allow emotions to interfere with your thinking and the choices, the decisions that you make. And of course, when people are emotional, they'll often act or do things, and later they feel regret about it. Just like the kind of pressure sometimes people may experience in these incredible times that you're fighting against such incredible odds. Like what's happening with the Wet'suwet'en, or what's happening with the Mohawks at Kanenhariyo or at Six Nations, or the Mi'kmaq on the East Coast, and all these things are happening. People are fighting. And then all the stress and pressure that people are living with this pandemic, and we're living through all these crazy times right now. This is not a time for us to allow ourselves to become divided and fight with each other. This is a time for us to unify and pull together. And for those individuals who are seeking to shit talk and to harm for their personal gain, or for whatever craziness is going on in their own mind, you need to stop this. Because what you're doing is causing harm. You're hurting families. For what value? So that you've got a few more clicks on Instagram? This is disgusting. And for the people who are not sure what to do, and I'm one of them, I don't know how we combat this when it's staged false accusations of sexual abuse or sexual assault, or just to just call it abuse without there having any meaning, or without there being any definition attached to it. And then they attack people, attack men, attack women, accuse them of being misogynists, or accuse them of being racist, or accuse all these things when it didn't happen. And then the people don't know how to defend themselves, or they try to defend themselves and then their defense of themselves gets used against them. I encourage the rest of you, when you see this going on, speak out against it. Don't allow these people, like this lady who solicited, she solicited Skyler. They're talking, they're having personal communications, and then she uses that against him. She tries to harm him, to increase her popularity. And she could be upset with me, or I don't really care. But she did to 3 other Ungwahome men too, not just Mohawks, other ones, even a Cree fella. Same thing. Just constantly going after, bothering, posting stuff about Ryan Reynolds, the actor. He's the Deadpool guy. He's a kind of funny fella. Saying that he's a hypocrite, that he supports Indigenous rights and Indigenous land defense, land back, because he's got a brother and a father who are RCMP and he won't publicly denounce them. Who are you to say that to somebody, to publicly speak out against your own family members about his own personal feeling and support? And I'm thankful, Ryan. I hope you hear this. I'm thankful that your support and you're behind us. There's many others that are the same, and we need to hear their voices more. They help us, and we don't need to shit talk people to get attention. We need to be positive and be thankful, and reach out to each other with open arms and say, "Come and join us." And it's not somebody speaking on my behalf or my people's behalf to talk shit about Ryan Reynolds or any other celebrity who's interested to be supportive and to put their voice behind ours to help strengthen the fight that we have against us after genocide. And this chick doing this kind of stuff, it's deplorable. And it happens all the time. Even we've seen it in the Black Lives Matter movement. Their struggle is similar to ours. Not the same, but similar. And they're fighting back against extreme violence and tyranny as well. And then the same thing happens. The leaders, the people who are pushing forward and and breaking ground and changing what's happening get attacked by these sideliners, and they accuse them of all these abuses. No charges come of it because this isn't real, but it's a character assassination to destroy the movement. I can't help but wonder if the police or CSIS or the FBI or CIA are behind motivating these sort of things, because it's common. You see the same strategy used, you know, and it's hard to defend against, so they use it. But as people, we need to be aware of this, and we need to steer away from this model. This, I don't know what you call it. Maybe it's the Conor McGregor model. I don't know, the Logan Paul model, the shit talk model. I don't know what you call that, but well, we need to get away from that. We need to not try to talk about, find one target and then another, then another, then another, to raise our status so people are reading our things. Because no one was paying attention to the Credible Mohawk and Andrew Brandt until he started running his mouth about me and running his mouth about Skyler Williams. And then people are paying attention because they care about what we think and what we're experiencing and what we're doing, not about him. And I never spoke out about all the shit talk he was doing because I didn't think he was important enough to do that. But now he's causing harm. And he's drawing in other people who are causing equal harm. And so I gotta speak out about it. I got more to say, a lot more to say. But I'm not going to do it all in one message. It'll be 2 hours, 3 hours long. I'm going to do it in a few of them. And I'm sure this is going to get all kinds of hate and write whatever you want. It doesn't really make a difference because you're doing it because you don't even know what's going on. But there's a underlying thing happening. There's a network of these scumbags. They're connected to each other. And they're all running the same line, and they're attacking the people who are actually on the front lines, not wandering down, taking a picture of themselves and running back home. The ones who are actually doing the work, the ones that are actually repairing the language in their families, the ones that are actually reconstituting and raising up our hereditary governance structures, those people are under attack. And they're under attack by the Canadian state, the American state, and their allies. And many of those allies are people who were assimilated, who have sided with them to undermine and attack us. And they claim our identities when they don't even participate in it, and they don't actually believe in it or want to support it. They actively work to destroy. So I'm going to talk a bit more about that. But that's the thing that I'm thinking about right now. And my friend Skyler, you and I have been fighting this battle for a lot of years. And I know that the trouble that you've experienced has had a great weight on your family. And I hope that things lift up. And I hope that your wife, that this isn't falling all a mess on her. And I hope that your children, this isn't all falling on them. And I hope that this doesn't continue to fall on you either. You're all wonderful people. And everybody should know that. Those are wonderful people. And they've been champions and heroes defending our way of life for decades. And they don't deserve to be dragged through the mud like this by a white supremacist and an egomaniac liar. Well, that's all I got to say right now, Took Nego.